In this lesson, I want to go through the steps of setting up your document for print, especially when you have a document that is larger than the print size that we currently can print in our labs. The largest right now that we can print on our campus lab is 13 by 19 cover stock up to 120 pounds on our Epson inkjet printer. The way that I would go about this would be in a few ways. One, if your box can fit within the printable area, which is 13 by 19, with a margin of about a quarter inch. So it has to be about half an inch smaller than 13 by 19 to fit in the printable area. Then, all you want is to have one artboard, and in that artboard you will have your design with the die lines. Now, the way that I would print that is, one, for the die lines, you can have the die lines in the same color as the background, but in a darker tone and with a very thin line. Right now this one is 0.75. I could bring it down to 0.25 just so that only I could see it, right? Another way would be to print the die line on the back of the actual color print. Okay, this is right now what you're looking at is as a wine box, and it opens on the front of the wine, so it could be put down on the table and open up and then take the wine out, or it can be standing up, vice versa. But I went with this design, and right now this design is pretty big. I mean, we're talking about 20, almost 24 by 22 inches, so it's not gonna fit in my printable area. But here I have the top or front of the box, the side or back of the box, depending on how you setting it up on the table, the back or the bottom, and then the front or the other side of the box. So the way that I have this set up on my layers is I have this design layer, and within the design layer I have one layer grouped for my die lines, which is right there, and another one for the design, which is right there. And I have the sample box that I can hide. So if I were to print this out, and let's say it fits inside of the 12.5 by 18.5 printable area, then first I would probably print the design. Now notice how the design is larger than the die line, so I made it about quarter inch, which was a lot larger. It should be at least 1/8 of an inch larger. So try to set it up into 9 points larger if you're going for points, or 1/4 inch larger, 1/8 of an inch, sorry, which is the bleed area. So I would print first just the design by hiding the die line layer, and I will print this, and then I will flip it, insert the paper again, and then I will just print the die line on the back side of it, which is what I'm gonna use to cut my design and fold, and nobody will see it because it will be inside of the box. So that would be the first step I would do if my design prints in one sheet of a paper within 13 by 19. Now this box is like I mentioned, is pretty big, and it's about 22 by 24, less than 24 inches. So it's pretty big for that. This one I had to cut up into different parts. Okay, so the first part is the front or top of the box, the inside flap and the two side flaps, right? And actually the back or side of the box. And I also left apart that is going to be glued. So this is about half an inch or more, about actually over half an inch, be within half an inch to an inch, and this is gonna be glued to this part, which is the bottom part. So notice how this part doesn't really, I'm gonna cut it and fold it right there, because I'm also going to add to this piece the flaps on each side, because they couldn't fit in terms of the height. So on the flap, I've left an area, if you can see here where I added the word glue, which is going to be glued inside of the bottom. And the way that I did this was I took the die line and the actual design and I grouped them, and I separate them in 3 artboards. So I have one artboard here, and if you can see, I have a clip path, and if you want to see just that clip path, it's this shape. So this is a shape that I made with the pen tool, and then I made a clipping mask where I inserted the design and the die line inside. So now I can come here and I can actually hide the die line from the clipping mask and print just that, flip it, and then show just the die line. There we go. And I will print this on the inside. So you have to kind of figure out into how many pieces can you break your design up, because it probably could be two parts, but I had to do 3. And what I did is the big flaps, they couldn't fit in terms of the height. So if I take something like this and I will flip it, you can see that these 2 flaps are too big, and I would have to cut my design into 2 halves, this half and that half. So that's what I did. I have 3 copies of my design right there, and I put them into other shapes, and I make sure that I kind of figure out what piece I want to glue to what piece. So I'm gonna glue the back of my box to the bottom of the box, and then I'm gonna glue the 2 flaps of my box also to the bottom of the box. And I should make the bottom a little bit sturdier because all of the pieces are glued into it. So that's what's gonna hold my bottom. And once you have all those sides printed, then you can just cut them up and glue them up. You may want to use rubber cement, something that's more sturdier than a spray mount. And to fold this, you would want to use a bone scorer, which is to make scores and to fold. So you would actually do a dent in the lines where it'll be fold, and it'll be easier to fold without cracking the paper. And then you just cut with the X-Acto knife within your guidelines. So this is a step-by-step way of setting up your document, either to print as one size or to print larger size into multiple pieces.